What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how I recreated this Jovan Kornic video.
I don't give a fuck how big it is. I mean your follower count, dumbass. I promise you that none of your followers will turn into your clients if you're not abusing this prospecting hack. Or your money back guaranteed. But you need to follow these 3 steps in order. The first step is that you choose the right creator. The second step is that you create your freebie. And finally, the third step is that you post your freebie. Let's start with step 1. Think of a creator you want to work with and head to their profile. From there, choose any reel that looks trash to you and download it by using this website. Then simply re-edit that reel. That's going to be your freebie. But you're not done here. Share the re-edited reel to your story now saying did this for creator's name. And from here, it's up to you to close them in your DMs. Because you'll probably fuck this part up, I've created a free Notion doc with my DM script for you to help you out. If you want it, comment perfume and I'll send it to you.
I don't want to waste your time, so let's jump right into it. First, I will show you how he does his captions. It's pretty simple and they look really good. So first thing is of course adding gradient ramp. First color will be red. Of course you can choose like pink, blue, green, orange. It doesn't really matter. Pick whatever color you want. And the second color should be black. So position of red color should be right above there and position of black color should be right down here. So I will show you how it's looking without these other effects, just like this. Then he adds deep glow. So these are settings for deep glow. Radius should be around 300, exposure 0.2. The thing I absolutely love to do is to go into input and put threshold and threshold smooth on 100%. So this is how it looks without this threshold and this is how it looks with it. So yeah, it's like small difference, but yeah, it's different. Next effect he does, it's light sweep, and this effect literally transforms text into something better. So yeah, these are the settings. And the last effect is drop shadow. Of course, these are the settings for drop shadow. We are done with text, so we can move into some really spicy things, and that's animations, of course. So first animation I'm going to break down is this iPhone animation, and it's pretty simple. It's looking complicated, but it's really simple, like I said. So yeah, let's dive into it. First, I'm going to show you how he set up that animation. So first thing we got here is this iPhone template. First, we are going to go into this Google animation. I made this shape and then I put this beautiful Google logo with fill effect on it, so it can be all white. Then I made this search bar, literally the same thing. I just made this rectangle, put microphone, photo and search icons, and for this text animation I wrote how big should it be, really sus question. And then what you need to do is just add a typewriter effect, and literally that's it. You will have that effect. Next, you are going into this tab words. This is literally just text and this little line. For this web thingy I just made, of course, rectangle. Then I made this white circle, added these 2 texts, and I also added these 3 dots. And last thing I did is of course put some more text. How big should it be, and answer to that question. And now I'm going to show you how I animated this Google scene. In this whole video you can see that these animations are like bouncy animations. So how does he do them? So first animation that is going to appear is these tab words, and it's pretty simple: position and opacity keyframes. I put 1 keyframe in the beginning, then I went 13 frames and put another one, and I went 5 keyframes and put last one. For the first keyframe you should put it way below. I put it on 1020. For second keyframe you should slightly move it above the third keyframe, if that makes any sense, because you want the animation to be bouncy. So That's why you need to put it slightly above, like 10 above. So third keyframe is on 960 and the second one is on 950. So put 10 above, or I should say 10 below. That is more correct. When it comes to graph, this is how it's looking. I think I slightly adjusted middle graph. And one important thing you want to do is move this, let's say, keyframe all the way up, so it's going to be constant movement. I will show you now. For example, this is how it's looking. It's literally flat. So what you want to do is to grab these keyframes and move them above, just like that, and that way you will get constant movement. Because if it's flat, animation will literally just stop here and then will again start with the movement. So yeah, I hope that this makes sense. And he did the same thing for all of these other things. When it comes to opacity, I think I went around 8 frames. Yeah, 8 frames exactly. For graph, it's literally just normal middle graph, slightly adjusted. And yeah, that's literally all for this Google scene. And let's jump into this Instagram scene. When it comes to designs, literally Instagram page theme, so I don't want to bother you with that. When it comes to animations, it's literally the same thing. Again, those bouncy animations. For this scene, some animations are late. For example, if we take a look on this, what should I call it, like Instagram post thingies, you can see that they are not on the same track, let's say. And yeah, that's literally it. And if you want, you can follow this sexy guy on Instagram. And the last thing is this Instagram and Google animation. For these two, it's just position keyframing. As you can see, this Instagram rectangle is a bit late, and that's literally the same thing he did in his video. How I did that, I think I don't need to explain that part because it's really obvious. For first keyframe, I've moved it down, and for the second one, I of course move it up a little. And when it comes to this Google fall animation, again, it's just position keyframing, nothing complicated, but I can show you graph, and graph looks like this. And of course, for Instagram graph, it looks like that. And yeah, that's literally it for this iPhone animation. Last thing that is left is this iPhone movement, let's say. So how I did this? I did this with null objects. And you might be asking, why null objects? As you can see in his video, movement is literally consistent. Same thing like that bouncy animation. But in this case, I used null objects. First of all, I connected iPhone with first null. Then I connected first null with second, second with third, and third with fourth. And these are the keyframes for this movement. As you can see, I did this one interesting thing. I moved these first two keyframes like how much? 4 frames, and that's because we want the movement to start immediately. So for example, if I moved keyframe to this point, we'll have to wait for it to start. I will play it so you can see. Look at this, and now I will show you this. You can clearly see the difference. So for the first null, I animated position and rotation, and this is how it looks. So it slightly rotates and moves up. For other nulls, like I said, movement needs to be consistent, so that's why we are overlapping them. When it comes to second null, again, I put rotation and position keyframes. With these keyframes, iPhone is moving to the right side, and of course it also rotates to the right side. And for the last null, it's literally just iPhone going down, and I will show you graphs for all of these movements. So this is the graph for the first null, this is for the second, and this is for the third. And yeah, that's literally it for this iPhone animation. For all of these animations, you need to time them perfectly to make them look good. Also guys, if you want, I can make in-depth tutorial on these animations. Just drop a comment and let me know. Next scene I'm going to break down is this stripe scene, and this is where things are getting interesting. So yeah, this is how it looks. My After Effects is dying for I don't know what reason, but I think that problem is with motion blur. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I will show you how this scene looks without any movement, so you can see design and all of this stuff. This is Instagram page, and then it translates into stripe scene. So the most interesting thing about his animations are match cuts. I'm talking about this. You see, again we are using null objects for just movement, and camera is literally just for placing scene in right direction, if that makes any sense, of course. I will show you how it's looking without these null objects. As you can see, just raw cuts, nothing too special. First thing you need to do is adjust where you want the camera to look. So as you can see, this first camera is just normal, and then second camera is slightly zoomed in. For the third camera it's literally on stripe web, and for the fourth camera it shows stripe payment balance. When you're done with camera, you're going to work on null objects. So this is how the first null is looking. Nothing complicated, just slightly zooming out. Second null movement is going up. Third null is zooming in, and the last null is just going down. And this one thing is very important. So you want to match graph with camera cut. I will show you in this example. So you can see that the biggest part of the graph is literally in the middle of this cut. You don't need to do that for all of these cuts, just for some of them. As you can see in this third null, I didn't adjusted graph to the match cut, but for the last null I did that. Yeah, so why do we do that? I'll try to explain it in the most easiest way. So the biggest point of the graph is literally the fastest movement, if that makes sense, and I hope it does. So yeah, we are done with this movement. Last thing I'm going to show you are effects. So I put a deep glow, radius is 500, exposure is 0.01. When it comes to vignette, amount is 130, angle of view is 35, and last thing I want to show you is blur on match cuts. This blur literally adds like smoothen to that cut, so it's not going to be that harsh, it's going to be more like smooth. We want the blur to happen on match cut, and this is how keyframes are looking. Of course, this is the middle keyframe. I went 3 frames in front and put it to 0, and I went 3 frames behind and also put it to 0. So yeah, that's literally it, and graph is looking like this. Also, I forgot to show you this application thingy. It's super simple, just position keyframes. For mouse cursor, this is how it looks. One thing you need to do here is make a slightly curve to that movement. So mouse cursor is moving like this, not like this. So how I did that? Of course, the first thing you need to do is do a movement for that mouse cursor. And when you do that, you need to pick pen tool. Then you will click on here, and you need to hold that and move it up. So as you can see, you're getting that curve. So yeah, that's one more thing I wanted to show you. And yeah, I think that's all for this stripe scene. Next scene I'm going to show you is this 3 things scene. That's how I named it, and this is how it looks. In this scene we have a lot of match cuts. As you can see, there are a lot of them. But first of all, I'm going to show you how this scene looks without all of this movement. So it's pretty simple, as you can see. For that bouncy scale animation, this is how I did it. So first keyframe is normal scale, it's 100. For second keyframe I went 5 frames up front, and I made it 110 on scale. And for the last keyframe I went 10 frames up front, and I put scale on 105. Like I said, for these bouncy animations, your second keyframe should have the most value, or I should say the biggest scale. For the graph is looking like this, and for the second movement that slightly, let's say, zooming out, you're going to put 1 keyframe here, and I went around 7 frames up front and put another keyframe at 100 scale. And for this 2 keyframes graph is looking like this. Literally just a normal graph. And now I'm going to show you how I did these match cuts and this movement. First I'm going to show you this camera match cuts. So this is how the first camera is looking. Then this is the second one, the third one, fourth one, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and this is the last camera. And now I'm going to show you null movement. So for the first null, it's literally just zooming out. Second null is moving slightly to the left. Third null is zooming out. Fourth null is moving down. Fifth null is moving also down. Sixth null is moving to the right. Seventh null is moving down. Eighth null is moving slightly to the left and also down. This null is just moving down, and last null is literally just zooming out. So yeah, I'm going to show you graphs for all of these nulls. First graph is literally the normal graph. Second one is looking like this. This is the third one. This is the fourth. This is how the fifth null is looking. This is the sixth one, seventh, eighth, ninth, and this is the last null. For effects, what I used, literally same thing like in the previous scene. I used vignette. Amount is 130 and angle of view is 20. For deep glow I used a radius on 500 and exposure on 0.01. So yeah, I think that is all for this 3 things scene. So let's move into downloading post scene. First I'm going to show you how it's looking without all of these movements. So it's looking like this. So these are the animations in the beginning. It's literally just position and opacity. When it comes to Iman Gaji profile animation, this is how it's looking. So yeah, I used bouncy animation for these posts, and they're not on the same track, they're a bit late. In this part, scene is going to change. So how I did that? I just created a black solid, and for these animations I used a bouncy animation technique. For this logo I just made opacity keyframes from 0 to 100, and yeah, that's literally it. Now we are going into camera and movement. Of course, first I will show you how camera is looking. So this is the first one, the second, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7th. So first null movement is again going to be just zoom out. Second null is just moving to the left. Third null is zooming out. Fourth null is moving down. Fifth null is zooming out and moving up. For this null movement is going to the left, and for the last null movement is just zooming out. Again, I'm going to show you all of these graphs. And that's literally it for effects. Again, I used deep glow and vignette. It's literally the same settings. We are moving into another scene, and this scene is called story scene. This one is one of the most simple animations in this video. So this is how I did that. Literally nothing special. I just put all of these icons and thingies. For this little Iman image, what I did, of course, bounce animation. Then we have this swipe up animation, and it's pretty simple, just position keyframes, and yeah, that's all. And then we have this pop-up, and how I did that, literally just scale keyframes. After that, this white, let's say, shape is coming, and of course this text. So for that white thingy, nothing complicated, just position keyframes. Graph is looking like this. Also, one thing I did is I lowered exposure. For this keyframe, value is -1.3. And last thing for this scene, is this animation. So this template is literally just scaling down from 100 to 0, literally just to disappear. When it comes to this animation, this is how the graph is looking, literally just normal graph. And for this story animation, graph is looking like that. Now I'm going to show you Iman Gaji DM scene. For me, this scene is my favorite because it's just super clean and smooth. So let me show you how I've done it. First, this is how it's looking without any movement and camera. You can see literally just simple things. For all of this, let's say Instagram DM messages, it's literally bounce animation again. So now I'm going to show you how I did this camera movement. So this is the first camera, this is the second one, the third one, fourth one, fifth and sixth. And then when we add nulls, things are going to get 10 times better. So these are the keyframes for these nulls. First null is literally just moving from the right side to the left. Second null is just zooming out. Third null is just going down. Fourth null is going from the right to the left. This null has slightly down and right movement. This null has a movement that is going to the right. For this null, it's just zooming out, and literally that's it. Again, I will show you all of these graphs. I mean, they are literally the same graphs I used in previous scenes, or I should say animations, or I should say movements. So yeah, this is how they are looking. For effects, I just put a vignette. Same settings like the other ones. When it comes to this Brutes DM script message, how I did that, as you can see, it's like blurry, and how I did that, I just put the mosaic effect 300 and 300, and I put deep glow, radius 500 and exposure 0.02. And for Iman Take My Money, of course, I put a deep glow. These are the settings, and also these are the settings of deep glow for this emoji. And yeah, that's literally it for this last complicated animation. Last thing we have is this call to action, and it's pretty simple to do. Movement is again bouncy. This first rectangle is just going up and opacity is going to 0, and literally is the same thing for this rectangle like for the first one. And yeah guys, this is literally it for this whole video. I break down literally every one of these animations. And yeah, I hope you learned something new in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And yeah, that's it, so see you guys in the next video.